Hello there and welcome to another episode of Cutting Through the Bullshit. I am your host, Dr. Stephanie Snyder, and I am a high performance mentor. Through my unique blend of strategy, mindset, and intuition, I help men and women to cut through the BS in order to create the life and business they desire. So I'm going to give you a little sneak peek into the wheels that go through my head. So I have a notebook on my phone, as most of us do, right? You have the little notes section. Well, I have all of these folders with all these different ideas, all these different stories, posts, everything that I share on social media, I also put in my notebook because if something were to happen to my social media, I want to be able to have my content, right? So I have two different folders that serve the same purpose. One of them is called Contemplations, and the other one is called Questions for Contemplation. I didn't realize that I had two folders named the same thing until I was trying to decide what I wanted to talk about today. And so one of my questions for contemplation, and what do I mean by this first, right? So let's get that out of the way because I believe words are so important. Words are absolutely powerful, and if you're using the wrong word, well, you may be doing more harm than good. Not necessarily, but like just to know there are so many words that you want to make sure you're using the most accurate one. So when I talk about contemplating, I mean actually spending time and sitting with a thought. Not stuff that you think of, right? Because you could think of orange juice right now. You could think of an elephant or a flamingo, or you could be thinking about the birds outside, right? That's a thought. You don't necessarily give a whole lot of time and energy to that thing. When I talk about contemplations, I mean you actually spend some time meditating on this, thinking about it, ruminating about it, just sitting with it, trying to mull it over, right? Think like philosopher kind of a thing, right? Philosophers contemplated a lot. They spent a lot of time thinking about things. They asked why a lot, right? And so here's a contemplation that we're going to dive into today. My question here was, what if your progress was slow simply because you believed it had to be slow? Now, when this comes to mind, I immediately think of capacity. At least right here in this moment, that's the word that I'm thinking of, is the capacity, because a lot of us want to achieve the thing that we're moving towards very, very quickly. And I just got another idea for the next podcast episode. Anyways, we're going to have to come back to that. So when it comes to achieving something, right? Amazon has ruined us for life, right? Amazon has ruined us in the fact that we think we should get everything overnight shipping, right? Give me that thing overnight shipping, giving that thing overnight shipping. There was actually an episode I talked about several months ago now, a couple months ago, where I talked about how we actually love the idea of progress, right? But here we're going to talk about this idea that it has to be slow, right? Because we want the thing so fast, but is there part of us that's not actually ready for it? And so subconsciously we're like, no, let's make this really, really slow. Let's make it slow. Because you don't necessarily have the capacity for it. Now, what do I mean by that? So the capacity means that your current identity can actually hold the thing. And so the easiest way to illustrate this is weight or finances, right? Because those seem to be universal things, right? If you there's probably a pretty slim chance that you haven't tried some sort of nutrition program at some time. Now, I don't mean a weight loss program. My goodness, my voice is... I got a frog in my throat here. I usually have water up here. I don't this time. At some point, all of us have probably paid attention to nutrition at some point, whether we were trying to lose weight or gain weight or something, right? At some point, we've all probably talked about this. Finances, right? At some point, you've had to manage money, okay? And what do I mean by our capacity? So our capacity would mean like you're used to making $10,000 a month. And so that's your capacity for $10,000 a month. Now, when you go to expand to $20,000 a month, there may be like something that comes up that brings you back down to that 10 because you haven't quite developed the capacity to hold $20,000 a month. And so you stretch and you come back and you stretch and you come back and you stretch and you come back, right? This is very similar to kind of a weight loss journey, right? You hear people talk about yo-yo diets, right? Where you lose the weight, it comes back. Lose the weight, comes back. Lose the weight, comes back, right? And you're like, what in the crap? Like, what is the lesson here that I have to learn? And it's not that it's a lesson per se, it's an identity shift where you actually step into that person, that version of you that is no longer consciously making these decisions, but this is who you are subconsciously. Okay, Steph, but what the heck does this have to do with slow progress? We're going to get there. I promise. We're going to land this ship, right? So what do I mean by this? I mean that you could spend a lot of conscious energy trying to change who you are. And sometimes that's why change feels so hard, because you're consciously doing it. Now, our conscious mind doesn't want to use a whole lot of energy. It's like, no. Like, if we can put anything on autopilot, let's put it on autopilot. And so that's where this 21 days to break a habit, 21 days to make a habit is really, really, really useful. And that's where some progress feels slow, because you don't quite have the capacity to hold that, right? This is where that yo-yo diet kicks you in the butt. This is where you are debt-free and then all of a sudden all of that debt comes back and you're like, what in the world? Like, I thought I paid it all off. It has to do with your identity. So it's who you're telling yourself that you are at a subconscious level. So consciously, you could be telling yourself, I am so fit, I am so healthy, but if that doesn't feel true to you, it's not showing up that way. Now, the best way to kind of bypass this is to use building words, right? I am becoming, I am building, I am doing, I am making, right? When you use those, they can feel true. Also, Dr. Joseph Dr. Joseph Murphy, in his book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind, he actually talks about, wow, I just totally lost that thought. Here it is. Okay. So in that book, he actually talks about using just the word without any identity to it, right? So health, wealth, abundance, love, satisfaction, right? Just becoming attuned to that word without any kind of meaning to it. Just getting used to that word. That is also super helpful for your subconscious mind. Now, how do we go about changing this? That's a great question, Steph. Great question. I've totally gone off track. We are no longer talking about slow progress, but that's fine. This is what it's going to be. So how do you go about doing this? Well, one thing at a time, okay? Now, oftentimes those will start to domino effect. This is the work that I do because I can identify very quickly. My clients fill out some paperwork ahead of time before we get started together. And by paperwork, I mean they answer some very deep questions for me, and I'm able to pinpoint the domino that will make everything else fall. And so what that means is they're struggling with X, Y, Z, R, F, and Q. And I go, actually, if we work on B, all of those other things will be benefited. And it's amazing to watch this happen. So what does this mean, right? So this means sometimes that it's not a money issue or a weight issue. It's a self-love issue. Or it's a visibility issue. Or it's a fear that needs to be taken care of. Or it's a this or it's a that, right? It is not typically that thing, right? It's not necessarily a money block. It's something else that's causing you to not attract abundance. It's not necessarily a weight issue. It's something else that's causing you to overeat or your metabolism to be slow. It's not always what it seems. And sometimes it is. Sometimes it is, and you just have to admit to it. But this is the beauty of working with other people. You are like, Steph, oh my gosh, you're off your rocker today. I can't even follow you. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. We're just in feminine flow right now. This is what you're getting from me. I don't know what else to tell you. I enjoyed this conversation. But when it comes to these contemplations, right? Is it slow because it has to be slow, or is it slow because a part of you believes it has to be slow? Are you making it harder on yourself? Probably. There's probably a subconscious belief in there somewhere that's making it harder than it needs to be. That's why we contemplate things. That's why we slow down long enough to look at it. If you can slow down long enough to look at it without losing momentum, you become unstoppable. See, here's the thing. There's a lot of people who will say, I'm going to heal myself first and then I'll do X, Y, and Z. Well, here's the thing. Healing is a lifetime journey. And if you wait until you're fully healed and fully complete, you'll never take action on the thing that you want to do. It's this balance between the masculine and the feminine energy. Okay? The masculine's the doer, the feminine is the healer, the builder, the recharger, right? Healing yourself is essentially recharging. But if you're only ever recharging, then what is it for? You've got to actually do the rest of it, right? That be, do, have cycle starts there. I enjoyed this episode. I can't wrap it up in a nutshell. I'm not even going to try. But if you found this entertaining, I'd love to have a conversation with you. These are the kinds of conversations I have. So I'm going to sign off here. I don't know why I was just using my microphone. I was going to move it, and I wasn't done yet. This is where we're at. There's a good chance I'll re-record this episode. Anywho, we're going to use this as one of those like outtake things. So I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And as always, be you, because the world needs more of you. Bye.